This episode is sponsored by CuriosityStream. If you aren't familiar, CuriosityStream has thousands of streamable documentaries and non-fiction TV shows in a number of genres: history, nature, science, food, tech, travel, and more. Think of it as smart TV for your smart TV. You can stream on any device, anytime, anywhere. Use code CinemaSins to sign up. Just $14.99 for the whole year. The link is in the description. "45 seconds of logos, and like this rock, I'm going to skip." Zooming in on a person in childbirth that you thought was being murdered because of their scream cliche. In the industry, they call this the doom and gloom to womb zoom. I'm not sure which is the more unrealistic part of Hollywood's idea of childbirth, that the babies come out clean, or that the moms are able to sit up like this seconds after relocating 63% of their insides to their outsides. He thinks he's hiding, but he is super clearly, definitely, obviously visible here. Like, goddamn. Also, why are you even watching? And why is Professor Bumblebore even letting you? Oh, hey, I know a group of armed men have a raging murder boner for me in this room right now, but isn't the pillow fluff pretty when it flies around like that? Also, what is up with this dumb execution plan? You send 9 men with crossbows to unload shooting range style at a target still hid behind a curtain? Did they think Caspian had superpowers? If you want to send all your dudes, fine, but just have one of them subdue the sleeping subject and then kill and confirm. Have you never sleep murdered before? He pulls the sword out briefly to make sure it's a sword and not a fake sword? A handle only? A wooden sword? What is he checking for here?
There is so much more I meant to tell you. Everything you know is about to change.
In the 5 seconds it took you to say that, or maybe in the several minutes you've been escaping together, you could have at least given him the Cliff Notes version, right? I mean, I aced a book report on Caspian by using those in middle school. That works. Also, forget everything you think you know cliche. 9 armed guards at the execution. 2 guys with pointy sticks by the city exit. Makes sense. Movie steals the haunted forest ex machina from Lord of the Rings, and basically all fantasy movies. These opening titles chase on in the dark for some time. Then, after overcoming their fear of the haunted woods, the soldiers are undone by a small river. This movie has all the cliches. You know, for nighttime in the forest, it's pretty fucking bright. Jaywalking. Honestly, the streets of London should have killed these children long before they had another adventure in Narnia.
Feels like magic. Quick, everyone hold hands. I'm not holding your hands.
What the is going on? Look, I don't care if I found a fantasy world in a wardrobe a year ago. If I'm underground and the ceiling starts caving in, I'm finding the nearest exit. There's a different possible outcome where an earthquake happens and the 4 Pevensey kids are found dead in a subway tunnel holding hands with goofy grins on their faces that seem to say, "We thought it was magic." Also, sure as coincidental, they were just complaining about how long it's been since they'd been to Narnia. And the director said, let's have Lucy eat an apple so the audience will think of the Garden of Eden, even though the whole point of the apple was that it ruined the garden. But f*** it, am I right? And himself becomes the asshole.
Paravel.
This revelation takes way too long and requires way too much Lucy-splaining. They lived here for a full lifetime. Did they never spend any time outside of the castle? You could take me to a torn-down version of Big Dick's Halfway Inn and I'd know it immediately, and I only lived there for 3 months in the summer of 2007.
Ever since the death of Caspian the Ninth.
Oh good, we're gonna get our exposition at a council meeting. 2 of the most exciting things ever captured on film.
Our beloved Caspian was abducted by Narnians.
That's racist. These ruins are so dreadful, what with all the fresh apples and bright wildflowers. I'm downright dejected, I tell you. He tears his shirt to make a torch, asks for matches, and his brother produces a flashlight, and that is why this movie is 2.5 hours long. No one will be seated during the National Treasure portion of the Narnia movie.
I can't believe it. It's all still here.
You can't believe it. Pretend that you are me, dude, then you will know disbelief.
You were older then?
As opposed to hundreds of years later, when you're younger.
I wish that I knew what I know now when I was younger. Not sure if it's the basement storage place, these chests, whatever the culprit. This is some convenient fucking bullshit and it makes me angry. This entire city was destroyed except this spot, which no one ever found? Eat my ass.
I think it's time we found out what's going on.
Only just now? Man, Timothy Oliphant's nephew really looks like Timothy Oliphant. For the second time in this movie, this idiot hides in plain sight.
I told you we should have killed him when we had the chance.
You know why we can't.
Because the movie is named after him?
Or do I have to sit on your head again?
Nice. I didn't realize CS actually used some of my fanfic in this story. The centaurs should be along shortly, and then things get really interesting.
Don't you know what this is?
You mean the horn or the talking badger? Look, if I wake up in the home of a talking badger, it's going to take me a bit more than soup and hospitality to just drop in a normal conversation mode.
I think I've already found what I'm looking for.
You should tell Bono, poor guy.
How long until the bridge is finished?
In the first movie, we were dealing with talking fawns, white witches, and magic wardrobes by this point. But here we are, 32 minutes in, and are focusing on conversations about bridge repair. It really is strange how the franchise took a nosedive after this. I hope someone can figure out why. This is easily prevented if Lucy isn't an idiot, or if Tyrion explains the rules about how not all animals are English-speaking Narnians.
He was wild. I don't think he could talk at all.
It's not like you gave him a shot, though. The badger smells the humans after the humans are right on top of him. Is this a meta joke because badgers maybe suck at smelling in the real world?
He's the one who blew the horn.
Then let him bring it forward.
Don't mind us centaurs just hanging out in the woods until the fighting stops so we can dramatically reveal ourselves when the script calls for it. Also, these centaurs show up in the forest to save the— Hey, did Harry Potter rip this shit off or what?
That's the problem with girls. Can't carry a map in your heads.
What the f***?
But unless I'm mistaken, there's no crossing in these parts.
Well, that explains it then. You're mistaken.
Imagine not trusting the guy who lives here in the now and insisting it must be the way it was hundreds of years ago when you were here last. What's the problem? In the gray, they just jumped this.
The last time I didn't believe Lucy, I ended up looking pretty stupid.
Magical skip!
Shall we list the things the Telmarines have taken?
Yes, please, list them all. Anything to make this movie even longer.
Oh, freedom!
Oh, you were serious?
I watch the skies.
Finally, we know who to blame for all those smashed satellites and asteroids. It's this guy who watches the skies for a living.
Thava, the Lord of Victory, and Alambil, the Lady of Peace. If you will lead us, then my sons and I offer you our swords.
In less than 2 minutes, this crowd went from an angry mob ready to kill him to pledging full fealty unto death. It's gotta be a record even for movies. Hammering, sawing, plank carrying, excitement. If you cut out all the walking in this movie, it would be an hour shorter. A reasonable hour and a half instead of this bloated fucking nonsense at 2.5 hours like it's goddamn Saving Private Ryan or some Jesus. They're all sleeping on the grass as though ants and ticks and spiders don't exist, but they fucking do, man. They fucking do. Wandering off on your own in the woods when you are this shy of a sensible amount of years old. This scene braves on for some time.
I've missed you so much.
Well, for you, it's been a year, but for him, it's been a few hundred years, so maybe focus on his feelings right now.
Things never happen the same way twice, dear one.
Ironic, coming from a Disney movie lion who is also a king.
I asked, how many men were killed during this bloody Narnian attack, of which you were a fortunate survivor?
You see, he's now going to make him kill his own men in order to frame the Narnians for killing them. And this kind of bad guy logic is the worst. It's called lying, Miraz. You don't need to waste good manpower to make it true. You just say that and let your sycophants eat it up. It's like you're not even paying attention.
It may not be what you are used to, but it is defensible.
Is he talking about the military use of this cave or the paper-thin plot of this movie?
Peter, you may want to see this.
Even the fantasy genre isn't immune from a good old-fashioned, you better come take a look at this cliche. That's great, but when you're done expositing what this place is, how do you put that fire out? Do you have to wait until the oil burns completely? And then is it some poor bastard's job to haul buckets of oil back in here to refill this shit?
Miraz's men and war machines are on their way.
War machines? Talking woodland creatures? Movies that depend on watching other movies to get it? Is this the MCU? This little girl may be a queen, but she's lounging on the dead Aslan slab like it's a fainting couch. That's disrespectful.
I think we've waited for Aslan long enough.
Man, remember school? How do a ginormous eagle and a male human teenager land this quietly? It's impossible even for the teenager alone. They make noise just by trying to think. Eagles, man, it's always the fucking eagles. What's that? You say they're griffins? Well, I don't care, because I like making my eagles sin, so I'm going to sin the eagles. Then change it to calling them griffins after. And then the griffins peace out and leave the battle. Bunch of dicks. This is a terrible helmet. So, how much of this movie will be CGI? Roughly 40%, sir. Can we make it more? Yep, the same mouse that easily disarmed and incapacitated 12 full-size soldiers in the forest a bit ago is now worried about a single sleeping house cat, because no movie with a mouse can resist Tom and Jerrying for a bit. This movie has never owned a cat. You'd have to drug a cat to get these paws tied like this without dying from loss of blood in the process. And the rope around his mouth is laughably stupid and useless. This cat is a lie.
Yes, I'm a mouse.
Yeah! Did that mouse just slit that guy's throat in a Disney movie? I mean, the only difference between this and Game of Thrones are the camera angles, and this probably has a better finish. Let's talk about the hero's plan. They send a dozen or so people into the enemy castle via Griffin airdrop, which somehow causes no noise nor raises any alarms. Then they sneak undetected to the would-be king's bedroom and try to take him hostage? Do they think these Termitians hate them because of the leader dick or because of the racism? Free the old man teacher guy, that makes sense, but this take the uncle by sword point makes all of the no sense.
Put the sword down, Caspian.
Oh look, the plan involved not checking your 9 o'clock or having peripheral vision ever. Does this uncle dude not have any guards outside his bedroom?
What are you doing? You're supposed to be in the gatehouse.
Good point. So then why are you here? What a dumbass. For a movie that is aimed at families and can't show blood, there sure is a lot of maiming, decapitating, and disemboweling happening. These 3 tiny mice helping push the heavy thing are like me anytime I help other people push a car off the road or anything similar. I'm always like, do my tiny muscles contribute here, or am I just making a fool of myself? Seriously, what is Peter's plan here? Bum rush a super castle with minimal forces? Does that ever work out? Throwing arrows. Meanwhile, just outside the town, the Griffins are apparently hanging around on a smoke break, debating whether Capaldi or Smith was the better doctor, and why Tennant was better than both of them. One of them mentions McGann, and they all laugh and laugh and laugh. What was this guy doing that he couldn't hear all this until just now?
We need to retreat! Now!
It was your idea to attack this castle, Peter. Are you now saying you agree with... Okay, we're retreating. But I'm gonna bring this up again, and don't you think I won't? The Griffins were here all along, just waiting for someone to fall off a tower, because their claws and beak would be useless in a battle like this, right? I haven't seen crossbow aim this poor since... What movie has crossbows? Something with werewolves, maybe? Did it have bad aim? Bad enough aim for this reference to land? What do you mean you don't remember? Christ, what do I pay you for? Peter only realizes his mistake was costly when literal troops under his command get trapped behind enemy lines, because Peter is an asshole. Oh no, this character we barely know is injured or possibly dead. However will I contain my lack of emotion? Oh no, not the reach board! Not only does this troop-pledging, crown-taking montage go on for all the some time, it also must have taken a while in real movie time. Did the Caspian crew just hang out and do nothing during the months it took to amass this army?
I can drink a river of blood and not burst.
When you think back on what you loved about the Narnia movies, it's the blood-drinking demon bear you remember first, isn't it? This movie went from Mouse House to Blumhouse real fast, huh?
One drop of Adam's blood, and you free me. Then I am yours, my king.
You know what this already overly long sequel needed? A lengthy forced White Witch cameo that makes no sense with the rest of the story. The writers of this movie, probably. Just as one example of how poorly this action is cut, we cut from Lucy being pushed away to the left of the screen, almost directly to creepy Birdman flying in the same direction, into the wall, and I swear for a second I thought poor old Lou had turned into this creature. No sense of geography, no sense of space, no sense of fluid movement, basically just no sense. Dude. Your sister's hot. Dude, I know.
Pete, you'd better come quickly.
In Narnia, you better come take a look at this. It isn't just a cliche, it's a way of life. A slow enemy march on a cave fortress? Helm's Deep, anyone? Listen, I know it's common knowledge that C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien were good friends, but has anyone ever suggested they bet each other that they could write the same series of books and change just enough detail to fool the rest of the world? Because I'm pretty sure that's what they did. Congratulations, you invented face armor that protects the goatee, but not the eyes. Stunning work, really. You're gonna trebuchet a mountain. I bet it even works, too. Why are you standing here watching instead of panicking and yelling to arms? And so we arrive at the final battle 90 minutes in. Nicely done, Disney. Keeping this one tight. Let me just confirm the running time. There's another hour left of fucking what?
Why would we risk such a proposal when our armies would wipe you out by nightfall?
This question will never be satisfactorily answered, and yet he will, because of pride or pettiness or something. Movie villains are dumb, yo?
You are in good hands.
Or hooves.
CinemaSins. Is this part of the plan seriously? Hope Lucy's dream was real and ride off in a hurry to find Aslan to come save the day? Did the kids not have anything to learn about themselves? Is there anything they can do to save the day except go get Whisker Jesus? Katniss finally gets a chance to kick some ass. Deus ex Caspiana.
You sure you don't need that horn?
Horn dog. And now the action goes into this low frame rate slow motion. There are more editing choices made to hide the action in this movie than to highlight it. While we watch Peter fight King Uncle for all of the some time, and Lucy is off catfishing, I remind you again that this movie is called Prince Caspian. Bloodless wounds that result in bloodless swords. Somewhere between Kill Bill and Narnia lies the truth, but this ain't it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Depending on 2 people counting at the same rate in the heat of a battle is like depending on people to understand when it's their turn to go at a 4-way stop. Think it would work, but it never does. Man, this movie is f***ing violent.
You're mouse.
You people have no imagination.
Movie finally remembers that Reaper Cheap is in it, and then just has him make the same joke he's made twice already. More like Reaper Cheap, am I right?
Cut off this kid!
And to do this, they will launch boulders behind them. Lots of them, using some sort of perpetual motion trebuchets that continue to load and launch one boulder after another. Even if you buy into the physics of the automatically reloading trebuchet, which you probably shouldn't, how would they switch the distance of these launches so quickly? Sorry to throw so much trebuchet at these trebuchets, but it's a trebuchet that they're such a trebuchet. Also, thanks for stopping pelting us just in time for us to do some hero shot. You guys are the best. There is no time for this tomfoolery. Movie is content to subtly imitate Lord of the Rings for the first 2 hours and then is like, it, we're doing Ents and the Loud Water Deluge in the same 15-minute stretch and you can't stop us. This horse is still standing here. I once saw a horse startle itself with its own fart, so forgive me if I doubt it could make it through all of that without getting spooked and jumping off. This movie is long. However long you think of when you conceive of long, this movie is longer than that. It's long squared.
Come on. Our time's up.
Thing I've said every 5 minutes for the last hour somehow makes it into the script. I can't play it, but this movie ends with a Regina Spektor song, which feels incongruous to this movie for 2 reasons. 1, the time period. 2, it's actually good. This movie has more endings than The Return of the King. Hey! God damn it! 12 minutes of credits.
Fire!
Thanks again to CuriosityStream for sponsoring this episode. CuriosityStream is a streaming service where you can watch documentaries and non-fiction TV shows. They have award-winning exclusives as well as originals. I mean, for real. It's a whole new way to nerd out. Smart TV for your smart TV. You should use code CinemaSins to sign up. Guess what? It's only $14.99 for a whole year of access to amazing documentaries and shows to stream anytime, anywhere. The link is in the episode description. Go check it out.
Fly, you fools!
You go to St. Finbar's.
No, I don't want to go to a party in your pants.
Very well.
Although it has been suggested that this is the same kind of attack we have defended for years, I urge the Council to realize the truth. This is the single greatest threat we have ever faced.
Our beloved Caspian was abducted.
Once Gilder is blamed, the nation will be truly outraged. They'll demand we go to war.
Strike! I'm not questioning your honor, Lord Janus. I'm denying its existence.
I told you we should have killed him when we had the chance.
You know why we can't. I see we let him go.
I apologize for before. My mouth sometimes runs away from me. This doesn't have to be an unpleasant trip.
Minotaurs. They're real.
They're spectacular.
Do you deny being demoted for these charges? Don't wait for the translation! Answer me now!
If you will lead us, then my sons and I offer you our swords and my axe.
Hello! My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father.
Did you kill my father?
Prepare to die.
Hold the door!
Who's there?
I am the servant of the power behind the nothing.